Welcome to Black Girl Say Something, where this black girl has something to say. So, I wanted to do something a little bit different by going live, um, to use this as a time to talk about my tummy tuck journey. So, as you all know, or maybe you don't know because you haven't tuned in to the podcast, which is available everywhere you listen to podcasts. We're on Apple, Spotify, Podvine, iHeartRadio, and so many other platforms to come. But I wanted to use this time to talk about, which I'll probably have to do it in two parts because life for me, as it typically does. And essentially, I wanted to use part one to talk about some need to know, right, as far as getting a tummy tuck, my reasons why, and kind of give you some insight into finding a doctor and what that all even looked like for me. So let me start from the beginning. So March 19th, 2021, such a significant date, such a life changing moment, such whew, a turn of events, I should say. But what had taken place prior to March 19th, 2021 was the thought. And I want to say the thought could went even as far back as maybe 2014, which is when I had my second child. August 2014, I had my son. And just some things in the abdominal area wasn't right. But you give it some time. You wear waist trainers. You start working out. You breastfeed as long as you could just to see if things would kind of go back. And like any mom of multiple children will tell you, every pregnancy is different. Every transition of your body is different. Every postpartum experience is different. So for me with my son, I had noticed like my stomach was not getting smaller. I still was having pain. Even after he was one, I was still having pain in my abdominal area. So as time went on, you see your gynecologist, you see your primary, and I'm always talking to them about this hump in my belly button. And with me finding out this hump in my belly button, I went and got like x-rays, went and got ultrasounds, and it was an umbilical hernia. So, it's like, okay, it's one of those things where the hernia is painful, but it has not pushed all the way through the abdominal wall. So as long as it wasn't causing excruciating pain, there was no need for them to rush it to surgery. And any time I was looking at getting surgery, it was always like, okay, it's an elective surgery. And then at that point, I started looking into plastic surgery, but the money wasn't always there. And then I hadn't known anybody who got into surgery to kind of gauge what they went through until I had one girl I know. We're friends, distant friends, but we're friends nonetheless, and she had been documenting her journey. And I want to say this was like 2019, 2020, late 2019, maybe early 2020. And I asked her about it, and she was like, yeah, this is what I had to get done, X, Y, and Z. So she recommended her doctor, and I scheduled a consultation. And of course, like now COVID has happened, so every consultation is virtual. And then I'm also a mobile optician, and I had another girl that I've known from a long time ago. She was going to have a plastic surgery procedure done. And in talking to her, she gave me her doctor. But because I wasn't getting like lipo and a BBL, I didn't feel like that was the alternative route for me to go with that doctor because that's what they specialized in. So the one thing that I noticed is I wanted to go to a doctor who specialized in mommy makeovers. Mommy makeovers with the emphasis on tummy tucks. What did that tummy tuck post-op experience look like? So I started looking at a lot of before and afters. And even I could back up a little bit more. I had another good friend of mine. We were coworkers turned good friends back in like 2016, 2017. She had a boob job. And I remember like kind of going through with her, looking at doctors, looking at different before and afters. I mean, even our text messages, you would have swore we were like boob fanatics because I was helping her find like a doctor. And was like, oh, look at this before and after because we had discussed what she wanted. So the idea of getting it was always there, but the time was not always there. And so, through Instagram, I did find this one particular doctor. Through searches, I really wanted a woman. In my humble opinion, a woman could knows what a woman's body should look like, and I didn't want to look like and snatched, and I didn't want there was just I just wanted to look a lot more natural, I should say. I just wanted to know that once I got this tummy tuck that I would be comfortable with my body. I wasn't getting the tummy tuck to be like have my stomach out and everything like that. Yes, I love the good crop top then, but at the same time I just wanted to still like love my body, right? I still, I just wanted to be able to still handle what that would come with it. So it was like maybe September 2020. I found a doctor, a white lady, and I scheduled a consultation. Now it's 2020, so it's virtual consultation. Sent them some before of my stomach. Um, Sent them like my primary care doctor stuff because I had already been considering, right? So they didn't have to send me to my primary to get blood work, like I already was working up a lot of stuff prior to that. So um 20 my surgery was originally scheduled for December 2020, and I was going to do it during the kids spring break. I mean some Christmas break, winter break. I was going to do it during the kids winter break. That ended up not working out. My iron was super low, or it was low. But I also had other blood issues. So I have sickle cell trait, but I also have neutropenia, which is low white blood count. And I was seeing a hematologist for that. And so I had to get clearance from my hematologist for that. They also wanted to know had I had any recent surgeries and how did I heal through that, which I had had in 2017. I believe I had 8 teeth pulled, my 4 wisdom teeth and 4 premolar, because I had braces. So I had let them know, like, I didn't have any complications with that surgery. I was put under, I was brought back, everything was good. So I was like, okay, I had already paid my deposit. And I guess in another video, I'll do like a price breakdown of everything. But I want to use this video to kind of set the scene and let you know, like, even in the midst of all of that, um, I was setting myself up to do the surgery for March. So I was like, okay, I'll do it in March during the kids' spring break. Um, but I was also like with their dad, so that was like a whole thing. So I had to be able to, one, secure my mom and my sister to be there to take care of me, because you really, really need someone to wipe you, someone to help you get up, someone to make sure you can walk, someone to check your blood pressure. My mom at the time was working. Um, she worked like CNA work overnight, so she would be with me during the day, and my sister would be with me during the night, and vice versa. They would switch based on her schedule. But I'll get into that. I also didn't want my children to see me going through the healing process, so I had booked a hotel suite for the three of us to stay at, so their dad could stay with them. And at the time, he was still my husband, so he could stay with them. But I'll talk about that in another episode. So fast forward to March, it's surgery day. You can't eat nothing some hours before. Super duper early. I was glad to be one of the ones that was scheduled super early, first thing in the morning, because first thing in the morning, fresh mind, no medical errors, whatever. So it was the first time I'm seeing this doctor. Honestly, I really took a risk. I took a chance to just do a virtual visit with this doctor. I had never spoken to the doctor. I only talked to like the physician assistant throughout, setting everything up, setting up my date, the office coordinator, the surgery coordinator, whoever. So, boom, they schedule me for my surgery, and I get the surgery March 19th, 2021. Now, I will tell you this, because you need to make sure you have people who can be there for you to help take care of you. Um, I had a lot of other family things going on. My home, which I'll probably do a video about that, my home construction, how I had to sue my homeowner's insurance to be able to get them to replace the plumbing in the house. It was a mess. So I had no, there was no kitchen in the house. That was another reason why I had to book a suite. And there was only like one working bathroom. So, and my house is a 2 bathroom house. But with that being said, I had surgery, and the healing took about, in my humble opinion, about 6 months. It took 3 months. 6 months, I started to feel a little bit better. In about a year, I started to work out. I started doing light workouts, just walking on the treadmill, walking outside. Then I got a little bit more intense. I started doing bar with Pure Barre. I started doing Pilates, which as of now today, I'm 2 months in back doing Pilates just to build up that core. But my stomach is still numb, even after all of this time. And what I'll do in the next video, because I wanted to do this live format in the next video, um, I'll be sure to chop it and edit it so that you can see nothing gory, because I don't have any gory parts, but I do have video of me where I'm like walking hunched over, because you have to maintain that hunched position so you don't, stretch it out before it's time, to give that healing. But, you know, I really am glad that I did it. One of the major things that I always think about and that I'm thankful for is that I can pick up a gallon of milk. You know, my son, he's 9 now, so I'm not picking him up. But when I originally, maybe when he was like 7 or 8, I could pick him up, you know, give him a piggyback ride, have fun, move things around the house. Because again, I'm in the middle of a divorce, so there's no man in my life, and I got to be able to move and groove things around this house. I've done a whole bedroom remodel and things like that. So the ability to be more independent in that way, carrying groceries, what really prompted me to want to get the surgery was the fact that I recognized that certain things that are necessary for quality of life I didn't have. So carrying groceries inside was so painful because I had this massive umbilical hernia, like my stomach would protrude out about this much. um Recognizing what foods you can and can't eat, because there are certain foods that causes bloating, and so when you get that bloat, it still is so tight. Because I was never one to really show my belly button, like that was the early 20s, but I was never really one to show my belly button. But I really don't like how it came out, so I do need to see a dermatologist for that because I did keloid. My scar did keloid. I had stomach tattoos. They cut one completely off, and there's one that's still half there. But before I was to do any tattooing, I say for myself, it's been 3 years since I've had surgery. But before doing any of that, I do want to see a dermatologist to get I think it's like a calcium shot or treatment or something like that they would inject into the keloid to make it go down. But aside from that, I am glad with the results. I'm able to work out. I'm able to lay on my back and sit up. Like, I had lost all core strength prior to getting the surgery. And so getting the surgery really added to my quality of life. So if you are considering any type of body modification, do what makes you happy. Do it from a place of it's for me. If you're doing it for anybody else, then it's probably not the right reason. But for me, I did it for me first and then my kids second, because to be able to help them with certain things, lift up certain things, do certain activities. I'm even talking about climbing the monkey bars. Like, I couldn't do those types of things. And I actually do play on the playground with them because that's my exercise, that's my workout. But if something was said on this episode that resonated with you, share this with at least one person. And remember, we drop a YouTube episode every last Friday of the month. So I'll drop even more details in the description of this episode. But you can listen to Black Girl Say Something wherever you listen to podcasts every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in.